And what's up, everybody? It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I am back with another video today. So I'm bringing back an old series I used to do at the beginning of the year. Haven't done it in a few months, but I figure with the market crash happening in NBA 2K21 My Team, now is the perfect time to bring this series back. And the series is the top 10 cards under 50k available in NBA 2K21 My Team. So let's get some parameters out of the way before we start with the list. Number 1, if a card is under 10k MT, it will be included on the top 10 cards under 10k as opposed to the 50k list. So the only cards that will be on here will be cards that cost more than 10k under 50. Get it? I am going to start with some honorable mentions that are either just not quite in the list or they're a shade too expensive. So one of those cards being Draymond Green. Everybody knows Draymond Green is a great card. He's been out for a while. Most people either know about him or have him or have tried him and don't like him. So that's why he's not actually cracking the top 10. I would say that Draymond's still a very good card in this game, but he's just not good enough to be in the top 10, but he's still good. And like I said, most people know about him or have tried him, so it's hard to really put him in. Another card that I would put in the honorable mention section would be Kyle Kuzma, who we got yesterday. You can get Kyle Kuzma anywhere from 50 to 55k, even 60 on a high note if it really comes down to it. I think even if you're paying 60k for this card, he's worthwhile. He's an elite wing option in this game. He is one of those rare cards that can play both small forward or power forward just as well as the other. I don't really necessarily think he's particularly better in one position than the other position. I think he works well in both. Good size, pretty easy to time jump shot, just a really well-balanced all-around good card. I think Rudy Gay is a little bit better personally, but you could argue either way. Another honorable mention that I do want to throw out there is Chris Webber. Chris Webber's nice, man. Like, he's still really good. The fact that you can buy a big point guard that's so well-rounded for this amount of MT definitely deserves a spot on at least the honorable mention list. The only reason he's not in the top 10 is he hasn't quite dipped below 50k yet, as you can get him from anywhere from 50 to 55k. That being said, here's one for 54. Is Chris Webber worth 54k? Absolutely, for sure. Personally, I like him better at the small forward, but I know a lot of people do have success running him at the point guard as well, so it's really personal preference on which position he plays better at. But I think for 54k, he's actually worthwhile for both positions, which I think is rare. Next up, we got another card who I think just misses out in the top 10. Deron Williams. I like this Deron Williams cards a lot. I am upset that they changed his jump shot. I would have preferred for him to have that Rex Chapman jumper that his Diamond had. I'm still not entirely sure why they switched the jump shot. It doesn't really make any sense, because everyone likes the other one, or at least maybe it's just my subscribers like it, I'm not sure. But you can get this card from anywhere around 25 to 35k, and granted he is a smaller point guard, and I know smaller point guards are becoming somewhat outdated. They're still pretty usable, and Deron Williams in a triple threat fashion or with the correct lineup around him is still a very usable card. I just think he's a shade not good enough to be in the top 10. So we'll start with our number 10 pick, and that is Darius Miles. Darius Miles, I will say right off the bat, is not the greatest card in the entire game. He's not. And in my opinion, he plays better as a small forward than he does as a shooting guard. And him being a 6'9" 2 guard is kind of one of the main draws of his card. The reason he's number 10 is I think he's very good, and he has intangibles that you typically can't buy for under 50k, and even down close to 15k, which is a great price for him, 14.5. He's 6'9", he moves pretty well, he's got a long wingspan, he does everything kind of okay, 97 driving dunk, he can handle the ball, he plays defense. Perimeter defense could be better, but he does have good interior defense too, so if you're playing against someone who's really heavy on either rim running or post moves, he can help out. I just think he's a very well-rounded card, but like I said, with his hot zones, the only 3-point hot zones he has are going to be on the corners, which is why I think he plays better at a small forward if you run Hawks 2018 Freelance. He does have the badges for that as well. But overall, just a really good card. He has Hall of Fame Hot Zone Hunter. If you play him at the 2 guard, he doesn't really get to use those hot zones as well as you'd like him to use them. So, hey, either way, I think he's a really good card. Next up is a card that is interesting that he fits in the mold, and he either fits or don't fit, or doesn't fit, I should say. Depending on the hour, realistically, Justice Winslow. I'm making an exception for Justice Winslow in regards to being on the top 10 under 10K. He might actually appear on both lists. I'm not entirely sure. This morning, Justice Winslow's lowest price was about 12K. Now I'm seeing that he's dropping down a little bit, and unfortunately I made this list in the morning. But either way, I think Justice Winslow really is that good that he deserves to still be on this list. 6'7", lockdown defender. I wouldn't play him at small forward. I think he plays a lot better at the point guard. That's just me personally. 93 point shot, 90 driving dunk, 86 ball handle isn't great for a point guard, but when you got this size and defense, it's kind of key. He's incredibly well-rounded. There's really nothing this card doesn't do. He has a money jump shot, great tendencies. Like, this card is elite, and if we have like limited runs where you have to use diamond cards, you're going to run into Justice Winslow on an almost constant basis. Now, I don't want to say that it's a personal bias thing, but I will say that just a heads up, the love for this Justice Winslow card could be recency bias because the Warped Reality cards just came out, and I've been playing with him a lot, and he plays really well. But I am able to lock down, in theory, much, much better point guards with Justice Winslow, and for that reason, that's why he gets on the list. Next up, we got another card included in the TTO event that we have, and that's Juan Carlos Navarro. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, another like heads up on him is he is not the best defender in the game. Like, he's not a great defender. He's small. These things need to be understood. But he has base 98, very good release at this stage in the game. He can spam curry slides, which is super annoying. Not really my play style, but I understand that it is a lot of people's play style. On Triple Threat Online, he's an absolute monster. And for 27K, he's right at that price point where you could easily go pick him up, and if you don't really like him, you can just send him back and only lose a couple thousand MT, and that is kind of huge as well. But I really think Juan Carlos Navarro is a steal for his price, and that is why he occupies the 8th spot on my top 10 list. Next up, we got another point guard, and a point guard that for whatever reason just gets slept on so much, and I don't really understand why. Rajon Rondo, man. First off, he wears a headband. You know, number one, that I'm hyping him based off of that. But he has a huge wingspan. He has some of the best steal animations in the game. He's got a really great jump shot. I think it's base 38 on very quick. Really elite. He dunks really hard as well. This card is elite at almost everything except being tall. Like, legitimately. That's the only thing that I would say that this card isn't good at. Because everything else, this card is incredible at. The fact that you can get him for around 25-30K, same price as Juan Carlos Navarro, is crazy. It's Rondo, man. Who doesn't like Rondo? Rondo usually sucks in 2K, and he finally gets a good card, and everyone just immediately abandons him. Or says he's not good. Yeah, get out of here. Rondo's a beast, dude. I'd be willing to say right off the bat that this card is as good as Dark Matter Stephen Curry. Yeah, I know that's not going to be a popular opinion, but I truly do believe it. Next up, at the number 6 spot, we got a shooting guard. Billy Owens. Now, I'll say it right off the bat. Is Billy Owens really that good that he deserves to be this high up the top 10? Partially. Does it also have to do with the fact that he's a 6'8" 2-guard with a pretty easy-to-time jump shot? Yeah, of course. That has a lot to do with it. The 2-guard position is not friendly on budget players, and it never is. That's just kind of the thing about 2K. The 2-guard and power forward position as far as having like elite options. This year, the power forward position has been a lot better than it has been in like previous years. We've been getting a lot of like very good free power forwards with like Bobby Jones and just Obi Toppin, who is just straight up free in a locker code, who's actually incredibly good. But as far as the 2-guard position, we're not getting a lot of free or even low cost options that are elite. So Billy Owens is less like an elite card that's way underpriced and more of a pretty good card that shouldn't be this low based on his position. That makes sense. I personally don't like Billy Owens, especially because of his hot zones. He has similar to Darius Miles hot zones, though he does have a couple red ones up top. But I can't deny he's a great card. Next up, we got another 2-guard. Now this is, I don't believe this is the same thing as Billy Owens, because I believe this Warped Reality Kyle Korver is actually really an elite 2-guard in this game. He's got Kyle Korver release, which maybe it is just me. No, I've played against a bunch of people online that literally green probably 60 to 70% of their shots with Kyle Korver, which is stupid. As do I. Like, Kyle Korver's release is one of the easiest to green in this entire game, in my opinion, and he makes an absurd amount of whites. Now, the problem with Kyle Korver that we always end up having is that my man can't play defense. He cannot dribble the ball or attack the basket. Guess what? This Warped Reality Kyle Korver can do all of these things. He has Hall of Fame Showtime. Do you want to come through and do 360 behind, like between the legs dunks with Kyle Korver, aka Hot Sauce? You can do it. It's astounding. Also, he's got that huge release, man. Like, the release is huge. I think that's what really catapults this card into another stratosphere, because if he had just like a different jump shot, I would think he was okay, but probably on Billy Owens levels as far as like how good he is. But the fact that he has this jump shot attached to the overall solid game that Kyle Korver has makes him a scary elite 2-guard. And the fact that you can buy this dude for like under 20k is stupid. Like, it's just stupid. So, our number 4 spot. Now, a card that I personally believe is overrated, but at the same time, that doesn't mean he's not good for under 50k. Like, Boris Diaw. I think Boris Diaw, when he came out, was massively overrated for sure. But all of a sudden, he went from massively overrated to, I think, slightly underrated in the span of like 3 days. Because now I hear absolutely no one talking about Boris Diaw, whereas like when he came out, that's all I would hear for the foreseeable 24 to 48 hour lifespan. But this card is still incredibly good. He has a massive badge count, 69 total badges between gold and Hoff, which is, that's stupid. That's higher than like a bunch of cards on this list. Boris Diaw moves really well. His jump shot is solid. He's got a nice player build. He can play the power forward or small forward position. He's got, like, his player build is weird because he's like husky, but he moves really hard too. So it's like you take like a husky guy, like almost not like a Shaq type, but in that kind of vein, and then you put like a guard speed on him, and like his movements are really interesting. Boris Diaw is elite. He clamps people up too. I just think like for this price range under 50k, I mean, he's down closer to 20. I don't know you can find a more suitable card for your team, regardless of your playstyle. Like, that's the other thing about Boris Diaw, is he fits so many different playstyles. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you like Boris Diaw. I'm not sure. Number 3, we have a twofer. The reason is because both of these cards are under 50k. Galaxy Opal Magic is under 50k, which is stupid as far as the point guard Magic. Now, the point guard Magic is just fine, and it really just depends what position you want Magic to occupy. Do you need him to run like a power forward Draymond type? Because then you can go with the Pink Diamond power forward, which is even cheaper, around like 20k. If you need a big point guard to try to slow down people with like Ben Simmons and stuff like that and be able to compete with that, Opal Magic is under 50k. And I don't understand why people have abandoned this Magic Johnson already. Like, he's still really good. I still use him. I have the Hero Magic, but I still use this Magic Johnson. I think he definitely deserves to be third. Now, look, I feel like if you're watching this list, you definitely know who the top 2 cards are. Like, I don't think it's really a secret that Jokic and Dirk are definitely up here. Look, if you look at badge counts, like, Boris Diaw has better badge counts than these guys, but intangibles, man. First off, like, I can tell you right now, like, this was when we started getting like Jokic and Dirk and all them. Most cards that came out had the essential badges, at least in gold by that point, right? All what we would consider to be the essential badges. So, granted, they may be technically outdated. These cards still hoop on even dark matters. Like, if you run into a guy with Jokic on TTO or an Unlimited, they can still bang on a Wilt Chamberlain, no question. Like, it's not even a foregone conclusion that he'll still get buckets. Jokic is incredible. The fact that you can get this man for like 25 to 30k, even less than 25k in certain spaces. Like, I saw him going for like 19 last night. I bought one at like 18.7 last night. And I think he's even cheaper than that. I just happened to see one at 18 and kind of freaked out. He might even go lower to like 15k. That is the best value card in this game, almost. I would say second best value. But when it really comes down to it, I think our number 2 and number 1, they could be interchangeably swapped around depending on who you like better. I personally like the number 1 better, but Jokic, if you need a pure center, I would go Jokic. But if by chance you need a fluid guy who can play either center or power forward, I would go with the superior Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki is still a bit more expensive last I checked than Jokic, and I think it's because he drops a little bit less in TT. That shouldn't dissuade you though. Like, if you see Jokic, and you, especially if you need a power forward, like if you need a power forward, Dirk plays the power forward role exceptionally well. This dude can do everything. Same with Jokic, he can do a little bit of everything too, but Dirk Nowitzki I think is a little bit better overall, like more well-rounded, I should say. Jokic I think is a better rebounder and a slightly better defender, but I think Dirk is better at everything else. So I would say there's no question that Dirk Nowitzki, Glitch Dirk Nowitzki, is the best card you can get in this game under 50k. There's a reason you're running into so many Jokic's and so many Dirk Nowitzki's. I will say right off the bat, though, that I've run into astronomically more Jokic just playing online the past couple days than I have Dirks. I think I've ran into like one Dirk, and I've ran into at least 20 Jokic's, which, in my opinion, is ridiculous because I think Dirk is a little bit better. But, like I said, it's personal preference on which card that you think is actually better, but I don't think there's any denying that these two are the top 2 cards available for under 50k. So as always, it's been your boy Cheap Loots. Let me know what you think of the list down below. I haven't done this series in a while, so sorry if I'm a little rusty. I will be dropping the top 10 cards under 10k as well, so stay tuned to that. If you guys want, like I said, I started a second channel, which I'll leave a link to in the description of the video. It's Cheaper Loots. I'm going to be doing all my other content, like various other video games. I will be uploading the first video tonight on that, and I think it's just going to be an overview or review of the show. So nothing crazy, just going to drop something quick for it. So check the description for all my stuff and for that second channel, like I said, and I'll be back with more content later. Peace out, guys.